Hello. How are you today? Today's going to be a quick one. If you've not been here before, welcome to Hillbilly Crime. My name is Elizabeth, and I am your friendly hillbilly host. We have a good video today to watch that I wanted to share with y'all. This goes towards when police do not do their job, the reckless disregard of people's lives. You know, police are supposed to help us. They are supposed to help people in their time of need and when we have problems. And listen to what happened to this lady.
And she's dead because of them.
A duty to protect and a duty to act. Most police officers take that oath very seriously. But tonight, First Alert 4 Investigates is revealing for the first time ever accusations from state officials of inaction from some Missouri officers in incidents that ended in terrible tragedy.
And now the Attorney General says they should be held accountable. Chief Investigative Reporter Lauren Traeger brings us this exclusive story, Reckless Disregard.
On a dark Missouri Boot Heel highway lit up by blue and red, Michelle Anders said one of her last words.
Please. Oh my God. God help me.
Her sister Michelle says the mother of two was fun-loving and caring. Now she is gone.
I get to spend the rest of my life without her. And so do her children. You know, she doesn't get to see them get married. She doesn't get to be a grandmother. She doesn't get to be anything because of them.
Shortly before midnight in July last year, not far from the Arkansas border, Dunklin County Sheriff's Deputy Joseph Philpott, seen on video, and his partner were dispatched for a woman lying near the road.
Do you need an ambulance first and foremost?
No, I've been there, done that.
Obscured from view, Michelle tells him she's been beaten.
I'm trying to get away from him because...
Who's him?
The person who did this to me, okay?
When she sits up, Deputy Nicholas Cobb, whose video is on, sees she is hurt. Michelle, at times struggling to talk, she tells them she's walking from Little Rock to Chicago. She's already been to a hospital, has papers on her showing she has a broken shoulder blade.
The knot on your head looks fresh.
Yes, these are new.
What happened there?
After the fact that it happened, you know, I didn't press any more charges. I'm just trying to get away from him.
In their official reports, both Cobb and Philpott say Michelle did not appear to be intoxicated, was not slurring her words nor stumbling, but they noted a bottle of alcohol sticking up from her purse. Philpott's body camera is not on. Cobb is in his car for much of the encounter.
I want to say too here with this, first of all, she was obviously a victim of some form of domestic abuse. And so she was a victim here.
When Cobb gets back out, Michelle is holding her arm.
So where are you wanting to go? It's what I'm trying to get from you. Are you just going to live out on the street? What?
No, I'm not a street person, sir.
So what is your goal? What are you trying to get to?
She tells them she has no phone, no Google Maps. In his report, Philpott says she told him she did not have any money, so he told her the nearest town was a few miles away.
Would you guys mind just dropping off here?
Well, our policy normally is we don't give rides, but let me check something real quick.
In a whispered side conversation, Philpott asks Cobb,
Not really.
She said she walked from Little Rock to here.
She can walk.
keep walking, they tell her.
Stay off this white line, or you're probably gonna get run over. There's another gas station up the road about 2 miles, so.
Can you please take me there?
We can't give you a ride. I don't have enough room to put all your stuff in my car.
Please.
I don't have nowhere to put your stuff.
Elisa, so pained by that please,
police.
You know, begging them, not asking, begging them to help her.
You're welcome.
Michelle thanks the officers as they walk away. 13 minutes after they leave her, this haunting image from a semi-truck's camera. Michelle sitting in the middle of the road, making no attempt to get up, and the truck hits her.
911, what's the address of your emergency? Did you hit this person or? Yeah, I mean, there was nothing that I could do. So you need an ambulance there? Yes. Well, I don't think an ambulance is going to help.
Near her body, the bags Cobb claimed they didn't have room for, now stacked neatly on the side of the road.
My sister didn't want to die. She was not suicidal. I mean, even in jail, you get phone calls. Even in jail, you get water. They left her with absolutely no hope.
Do you think she would be alive today if they had helped her?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because she would have called me, and I would have driven 1,000,000 miles to get her.
Did they fail to protect and serve?
Yes, they did. Totally. I mean, who are they protecting? They didn't protect my sister, and she's dead because of them.
And Missouri's Attorney General now accusing the deputies of a gross deviation from the standard of care. Last month, they filed a complaint asking to formally discipline Cobb and Philpott's peace officers' licenses. Those documents say the deputies acted with, quote, reckless disregard for Michelle's life by leaving her on the side of the major thoroughfare at night, despite knowing that she was a potential domestic violence victim, severely injured and intoxicated. The complaint goes on to say they failed to summon medical assistance, didn't provide her with appropriate resources, and did not transport her to a place of safety.
They need to get right with Jesus, in my opinion, because they failed her.
First Alert 4 Investigates confirmed both Cobb and Philpott are still employed with the sheriff's office. The sheriff saying he would not discuss the case. Elisa shocked they still have a badge. She thinks they should be charged with a crime.
My sister's blood is on their hands because they did not do their job. They took an oath to serve and protect, and they did none of that. They laughed in her face, said they didn't have room for her things, and she was dead 13 minutes later.
But Michelle's case, sadly, is not the only alarming instance like it First Alert 4 Investigates has recently uncovered. Similar disciplinary complaint documents filed by the state say 2 St. Louis police officers, Ty Warren and Austin Frazier, committed what the state again called a reckless disregard, and more, they said, quote, an act of baseness, vileness, and depravity. They had been called to Forest Park in September 2023 after a call from a person who said they were going to commit suicide. Warren and Frazier found 29-year-old Urayoan Rodriguez Rivera under a tree, shot but still breathing. According to the complaint, Warren told Frazier, "We need to take this MFer then," to which Frazier replied, "We ain't taking this expletive. Let's cruise around and come back." The scene, according to the police incident report, was just off Kings Highway, very close to a major hospital. The complaint documents say they never provided medical assessment or attempt to render assistance, neither attempted to locate a firearm, which was reported missing from the scene. Rodriguez Rivera died later at a hospital, having left multiple letters of intent. His death ruled a suicide. His mother, who lives in Puerto Rico, texted with First Alert 4 Investigates, writing, "He was quiet, very smart, and had emotional problems," writing, "Nothing will change. That my son is dead. It's very painful for me."
What? Why? Why didn't they help him?
That case, shocking to Elisa, too. She wonders how many other vulnerable people have suffered because she says someone with the badge turned a blind eye.
What is this idea of reckless disregard?
It's that you know what the rules are and you blow by them anyway.
Gary Berger's the St. Louis attorney well-versed on cop cases. The state, he says, is accusing officers in both situations of failing to do what a reasonable officer would.
Leaving injured people in harm's way, both a danger to themselves and to other people, is inappropriate conduct from a police officer.
But that's just discipline. The families in both cases, he says, could possibly sue, but criminal charges, he says, are not likely.
It's often difficult to prosecute officers for what they do. Is it more difficult to hold them accountable criminally for what they don't do?
Absolutely. That's a great point, Lauren. Omission, the lack of doing something, is even harder. The law is going to give them even more defenses.
In fact, Deputy Joseph Philpott is fighting back against the discipline. His attorney now filing a response to the AG's complaint, denying the allegations and citing an Arkansas police report from 3 days before their encounter, claiming Michelle was a perpetrator of assault, not a victim, though nothing in their incident reports or on the video seems to indicate they knew that at the time. Cobb's attorney spoke to First Alert 4 Investigate, saying Cobb is prepared to vehemently defend himself. The attorney telling us he couldn't speak much on the matter, but he was confident Cobb would be vindicated. We tried to reach the officers in the Forest Park incident. Neither would talk. St. Louis police declined our request for an interview. A spokesperson wrote, quote, "The two individuals are no longer employed by the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. While we are unable to comment on specific personnel matters, SLMPD holds its officers to the highest standards. Appropriate disciplinary action will be taken if an officer is found to have violated policies."
I wish they would have arrested her. She'd still be here.
Elisa says she desperately wants the officers held accountable.
She can't talk anymore, but I'm her voice.
Her sister's pleas now leading to one of her own.
I was everything to her, and she was everything to me.
Elisa says she wants more answers about how her sister's death was handled in general. Meanwhile, according to the state, Ty Warren is the only officer we've mentioned without an active peace officer's license right now. At this point, we don't know what became of that missing firearm in Forest Park, only that St. Louis police filed a report that it may have been stolen. St. Louis police requested payment from us for a public records request we made nearly a month ago for that information, all of it regarding the Forest Park incident. We have paid for that, but we have not yet received the records.
All right. So, and then I'll stop sharing that. Mental health has really become a big topic nowadays, especially with the substance abuse issue in the last 20 or 30 years, and with the opioid crisis, really. But they've started to really put more of a focus on mental health, but that's not really translated very well into our criminal justice system, not with our police officers. Like, they laughed at that woman. They absolutely laughed at her, and they were not willing to do anything to help her. And you saw what the outcome of that was. And it's just so sad. It's just so sad. I don't know what the answer is. I really don't know. One of my girlfriends, one of my very best friends, right before I got on here, I had everything ready and was getting ready to go. And I just spoke with her, and her son is in welding. He's taking welding classes, and his shirt, a spark or something, caught on fire, and they just flew him out to UK. He's okay, but he is pretty burned. His back is. So I'm not going to stay on here really long. It's kind of got us all addled, and his mommy's on her way to Lexington. So any of you all that pray, please pray for a complete and full recovery for her son. He is a really, really good boy, and so we're all really worried about him. But I just wanted to jump on and show you all that story. I thought it was very shameful. Shameful. He could have put her in the back of the car. He didn't have to put her up front. And they could have got her a couple of bags in there. Anything would have been better than what happened. And police are supposed to serve and protect, and they're supposed to be, we we're taught that they're always there to help. You know, if you get in trouble or if you need help, find a policeman. And we just see with so many of these cases that, you know, I just don't know how we can even trust our law enforcement. There was another one here. Let me see. There was another one here that I wanted to show that would kind of go along with this one for today. Yeah, here we go. I mean, we'll watch this one. It's only a couple minutes long. And it just goes to show you where
app called Signal while I was covering the case of Metro Sergeant Kevin Menon. Signal is an app that can automatically delete messages. I just wanted to ask you if you knew officers in your department were using an app that can automatically delete messages.
No, I didn't.
Metro Sheriff Kevin McMahill says he didn't know his officers were using the encrypted text messaging app called Signal, but grand jury testimony and evidence proves they were. In October, nearly a dozen Metro officers who worked with now suspended Metro Sergeant Kevin Menon testified against him, some telling the grand jury they used the Signal app for group chats with him. That included Lieutenant Travis McMurtry, who was Menon's superior. Menon is accused of fabricating reasons to stop people on the strip and arrest them.
All of a sudden, like, I feel a hard, like, you know, shoulder bump on my right side.
In my previous coverage, I spoke to Marquise Brown, who police say was one of the people set up for arrest by Menon.
He turns around and puts his hand up and goes, you know, you got a problem? What's your problem? I ask, you know, like, do you have a problem? And all of a sudden, I just get arrested.
Screen grabs from a Signal group text chain show officers were communicating about arrest tactics. So we wanted to know, did they delete those messages? And if so, we want to explain why this matters. Under Nevada's open records law, it's illegal for any government agency to delete records. And removing, injuring, or concealing public records or documents is a Category C felony. One reason experts say is that those records must be preserved in case they're needed as evidence in court. Have you heard about government agencies and police officers using this app?
Oh, yeah. Government agencies and police officers love to try to circumvent the public records laws.
Las Vegas-based First Amendment attorney Mark Randazza explained to me why he believes elected officials and officers use an app like Signal.
They use it because their messages to one another are presumptively public records. So when the public or reporters or other government agencies want to see those records, you know, they'd like to be able to speak to each other in complete privacy. The problem with that desire is that they don't get to have that level of privacy.
I went on Signal's website to find out what a disappearing message looks like. It states, quote, each and every disappearing message will have a timer countdown icon that is visible at the bottom of the message bubble. I downloaded the Signal app myself and tried both deactivating and activating the disappearing messages function. You can see the timer countdown icon is only available when the disappearing messages setting is on. I then went back to grand jury evidence of the selected screenshots from the Signal group text chain. You can see all of the text bubbles have the timer countdown icon in the bottom corner.
They can be purged within a minute of sending them, 10 minutes.
This shows a conspiracy, like, I don't know if it would be a conspiracy. They would call it a conspiracy if they were investigating somebody or a group of people that was trying to, you know, do this. I don't see how it's any different with law enforcement.
It's an hour, a day, whatever it is. That's a very attractive function because once the message is gone, it's gone forever because it's encrypted.
And if it's gone forever, so is the public record. Metro's use of the Signal app came to light during testimony in the Menon grand jury proceeding. A juror asked one of the officers if there were records of the chats. Metro officer Stephen Casaro answered, quote, to my knowledge, the Signal app has an automatic delete. And Metro officer Eric Sanchez testified he took a screenshot on his phone to keep as evidence just in case he ever needed it. which is how we're able to see them and show them to you. Hello, I'm J1 with Channel 13.
Hi, J1.
After multiple requests to talk with Sheriff McMahill about Menin's case were denied or unanswered, I went to the October 31st Metro.
And watch how this guy, look at the facial expression, just his body language when she talks to him.
Fiscal Affairs Committee meeting to ask the sheriff directly about officers using Signal. Do you have anything to say about that?
It's against our policy.
And are you committed to transparency in your department? Rindazza questions if the app is a way to avoid transparency and accountability.
You know, generally you use Signal because you're concerned about the government spying on your messages. When the people you're worried about spying on your messages are the ones sending the messages back and forth, it just wouldn't make any sense for them to use it unless they were using disappearing messages.
Why is that concerning to the public?
I think for a lot of reasons.
Freddie Martinez is a director at Lucy Parsons Lab, a transparency and police accountability organization based in Chicago.
When you think about that in the context of police officers who can just download their own apps, delete messages on their own, you know, it really kind of shows how limited the public is in even enforcing the public records laws that we do have.
So whether or not they intend these messages to be secret, the very use of one of these apps makes it seem like they're trying to keep the information away from the public.
Melissa Blasius is the senior investigative reporter at our sister station in Phoenix, Arizona, ABC 15.
Government officials' use of a secret messaging app.
She's also reported on elected officials and police officers using the Signal app there.
Well, in the case that involved the police officers involved in a shooting here, the question was, what exactly were the officers talking about during their investigation of a crime leading up to the shooting? And shouldn't that be important information to be later shared with the courts, prosecutors, and the jury?
What happened as a result of your guys' reporting?
So the city eventually put out very specific rules that said that you can't use a Signal or WhatsApp or any kind of encrypted messaging app to communicate city business. So basically told city workers to knock it off.
Blasius tells me since that report, Phoenix government officials are required to retain encrypted app messages. As for Nevada, the state requires law enforcement agencies to adopt a written policy concerning the use of mobile devices and certain mobile apps by law enforcement. So I filed a public records request to get Metro's policy. The department sent me this administrative notice, which was addressed to all personnel the very same day that I went to the Fiscal Affairs Committee meeting and talked to Sheriff McMahill. It states, quote, department personnel are reminded all business-related communication must comply with Nevada law. Metro also sent me a list of approved mobile applications, and Signal was not one of them. How, as a sheriff, are you committed to transparency?
It's pretty clear that I'm holding Mr. Menon accountable in a lot of different ways. I'm the sergeant.
I'm continuing to listen to your concerns and dig into this story. I'm also working to learn if any other officers within Metro who were involved in these arrests and were using this app may face disciplinary actions as well. So far, only Sergeant Menon is facing charges.
So only one of them was held accountable for doing that. Yeah, love bug, I agree. They'll still do it because they don't really have anybody that's watching them to make them do anything. Anytime that there's any kind of accountability, you know, one, they really don't, the higher ups really don't want to discuss how they've punished their people, but which I know it's usually public record. But, you know, getting those public records is so difficult because they give you such a hard time about it. I've tried a couple different times to get some records around here in Letcher County, and they just give you the runaround so bad that you end up giving up. You know, it's too much trouble. And but that was just a couple little stories. I'm going to go ahead and jump off of here. I got to go get the boys from school. And me and Sweet Tater will be back on this evening, though, because we've got some other stuff that we wanted to do a show on. But you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Chris Cahill, my dog Rex, Pinto. Got a lot of our regulars in here. Love Bug, give her some love. Donnie, thank you for coming. And we'll do a longer one and a better one later this evening. All right, guys. Well, you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you later, okay? Bye.